What's up guys, welcome back. I don't know about you, but my wife has been on a sandwich kick lately, and this is one of my favorite creations that I've made over the last couple weeks. I'm gonna show you guys how to make the most epic steak sandwich you've ever had in your life. It's equipped with roasted red peppers, caramelized onions, Boursin cheese, all on a sourdough bread. But before we get into the recipe, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. First things first, let's get to work on our steak. You can use any steak you got from the store, anything that's on sale. For us today, that's filet mignon, believe it or not. This was the cheapest, well, I won't say the cheapest, but it was the steak that was on sale, and that's what we grabbed. I've made this with ribeye and New York strip as well. We're going down with some pink Himalayan sea salt. You can use kosher salt, whatever you got will get the job done. Make sure you get some salt on there. Very important when you're cooking a steak. I like to season my steak on a plate, that way I can roll it around and make sure that we get, you know, the edges and everything seasoned properly. So we're just gonna do that here. Season both sides with salt, and then we're going down with my AP and a little smoked paprika. Now, one of my favorite things to add to a steak sandwich is caramelized onions. We're gonna use one small onion for this. We're gonna caramelize it beautifully. We're just gonna cut it into strips, guys. So real thin slices, like you see right here. Get them in a skillet with some butter and let time do its thing. If you wanna cheat, you can add a little brown sugar to the party. Depending on the flavor you're going for, obviously that's gonna add a little sweetness, so I'll leave that totally up to you. But I'll show you how I like to caramelize mine. Now for a little extra pop of flavor, we have these roasted red peppers here. I'm just gonna give them a rough chop. You can get these from your store, local store near, you know, like the olive section, near the banana peppers and such. But this is gonna add a nice, you know, fire roasted flavor to your steak sandwich. Nice rough chop. You don't have to dice them up too small. Something that's gonna fit on the sandwich and give you a nice clean bite. All right, so we got our skillet heated over medium high. Got a tablespoon of butter in there. We're going in with one small diced onion. Kind of break them up so they got some space to caramelize and cook. Toss them around in that melted butter. Then we'll start to season them up a little bit. Really guys, you can caramelize onions. They have natural sugar, so if you want to invest the time, maybe like 20 minutes, and just let them really cook down over medium heat, maybe medium low, you'll get a beautiful caramelized onion. But we're not making French onion soup, and I'm not too concerned with, you know, taking that long to make a sandwich, so we're gonna cheat a little bit by adding a little balsamic glaze. You could also add a little brown sugar. So as the onions begin to brown and soften, we're gonna start to season. A little all-purpose seasoning, nothing too crazy. A few dashes of worst word in the world sauce to add some umami. And to help speed up the caramelization process and add a little bite, we're going in with just about a teaspoon or so of this balsamic glaze, which is a reduced balsamic vinegar. It's a little sweet, got a little bite to it. It's gonna add some color. And it's just gonna help speed up the caramelization process with the natural sugars in the onions. Everybody doesn't have 30 minutes to sit over the stove and wait for some onions to caramelize. What you can do though, is do it in bulk and keep it in the fridge. So if you love caramelized onions like me, you can add that to your sandwich. All right, so for this sandwich, we're making what I'm calling a chive aioli. So we got a half cup of mayonnaise right here. We got some beautiful diced chive. I'm going in with a tablespoon of good quality Dijon mustard to add a little bite. About 2 tablespoons of ketchup, more or less depending on how sweet you want it and how bright you want the color to be. We're also going to add about a tablespoon of this balsamic glaze, which is also going to add some bite and some sweetness. That's kind of the theme here today. Some AP seasoning, our diced chive, and break out the whisk. That's as big as our bowl and mix to combine. Perfect for a steak sandwich right there. Nice bold flavor. All right guys, you can't have a steak sandwich without some perfectly cooked steak. So we got our skillet warmed over medium high, in with a couple tablespoons of avocado oil. We're gonna let that coat the bottom of our skillet. Once the skillet is smoking hot, we're gonna take that perfectly seasoned filet mignon, place that down in the skillet like so. And let's get a nice solid sear on there. Now, you guys may have seen my pro tip for this in the past, but if you haven't, I like to take a nice heavy object, something like a small cast iron skillet, and place it right on top. That way you're forcing that steak to make maximum surface area contact with that skillet. It's gonna ensure you get a nice, beautiful, dark, hard sear on the steak, which is gonna add texture and flavor to your sandwich. Doesn't get a lot better than that, folks. Go ahead and flip your steak over once you got a nice crust. At this point, we're gonna turn the heat down to low. Add some aromatics, things like rosemary, thyme, garlic. We're gonna add in some butter, because butter makes everything better. We got our oven preheated to 400 degrees. At this point, we're gonna allow that butter to melt and marry together with the rosemary and thyme. And we're gonna baste these steaks and then finish them in the oven at 400. Until they reach your desired internal temperature. For a steak, I like to go about medium. For a steak sandwich, I like to go about medium. Typically medium rare if I'm at a steakhouse or making a steak for dinner. But I cook it a little bit further for my sandwich. I don't know why, that's just kind of how I do it. Cook it to whatever your internal doneness is that you like. And that, my friends, is going in the oven. All right, so today we're using sourdough bread. I like that for this sandwich because it just has a lot of flavor to it. About the size of my hand is kind of how I measure my bread for my sandwiches. Serrated blade right across this shaky cutting board because I don't take my own advice about putting a wet napkin underneath. But hey, do as I say, not as I do. Ain't that what your mom used to say? Got some beautiful sourdough bread right here. We're gonna go ahead and pop that in the oven to toast. All right, folks, it's time to build a sandwich. And the first thing we gotta do is slice into this filet mignon that's cooked beautifully. So we're just gonna cut it into like strips, basically, about like that thick. The thing I like about filet mignon, I know some people in the comments are gonna say, I can't believe you made a sandwich with filet mignon. It's so tender, and it just, you get a good bite when you bite into your sandwich. If you use a tough cut of meat, it's not as good of an experience eating the sandwich. So that's why we're going with filet mignon today. Plus it was on sale, so bonus points for that. Now, if you've been watching me longer than a day or two, you know that I have a special place in my heart for this Boursin garlic and herb cheese. We let it get to room temperature. That way it's nice and spreadable. It makes an amazing spread for a sandwich. Total flavor bomb. I'm gonna go ahead and spread that on the bottom of our sandwich here. Don't be shy. Then we're going down with our roasted red peppers. Add a nice bite. Then our perfectly cooked filet mignon. Let me know in the comments what other sandwiches you guys want to see next. Or I'll just keep making what my wife tells me to. That looks about right, right? I'll throw one more in there because why the hell not? Then we're going down with our caramelized onions. It's getting good, guys. A couple pieces of sharp cheddar cheese. We're gonna pop this under the broiler, let they get nice and melty, and finish assembling. All right, guys, so my broiler was a little hotter than I anticipated, but hey, I'm not gonna cry over melted cheese. We're gonna hit this with a little sauce on this side of the bun, or bread, I should say. A little Chive Aioli. This stuff is good. And nobody likes a dry sandwich, guys, so don't be shy to lay it on there thick. A little extra chive for good measure. And boom. There's our sandwich. That, my friends, is a steak sandwich. And this is the part where I say, brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is get in here for a taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well.